That can't be, you can't explain that to anyone out there anymore. Did you see the federal press conference? What Lars Klingbeil and Bärbel Baas said was so dumb and incompetent. You can't describe it any better than that, what they did there. Instead of being humble and focusing on what's really important, which is a declaration of war against the Christian Democratic Union, I can't believe it. Man, do they, sorry for the harsh words, guys, but have they really learned nothing at all? Are they really so stubborn that they still haven't realized how serious the situation is? A warm welcome to the Social Democratic Party at 0.5% in the Bundestag. That's what we're talking about today. And it's going to be extremely exciting.
The concept of reform that I've learned from the union in the past few months is to say that people are all too lazy. They should work harder, call in sick less, avoid part-time work, and keep working until 70. And maybe even pay for dental prostheses out of their own pocket. That's not the social democratic concept of reform. And I'm also very clear, anyone who thinks that less welfare state will bring us more economic growth, these concepts failed in the 1990s. Naturally, a tough struggle over the right course will follow.
Just this statement alone, you have to let it sink in. Exactly these things have brought the Social Democratic Party to where they are today. Twice an election loser with an absolute election disaster and an absolute election disaster, and new poll numbers that keep pushing them closer to the 5% threshold. And what does he do? He makes the same mistakes again. Mr. Klingbeil, why don't you just take the Jusos and make them ministers? Then you'll destroy the country just a little bit faster. And these statements, they're repeating themselves now. And the longer Lars Klingbeil speaks, the more we actually know here in Germany that you are not ready and certainly haven't learned anything. But the one who has learned, that's me. Out of all friendliness, may I ask you once again to like and subscribe to this channel if you don't want to miss this content anymore. Above all, they don't want you to find out the truth out there, especially in our political sphere. And it would really help me a lot if you could support this channel a bit. Thank you so much.
I want to say again, with the results we're seeing now, which have already become apparent some time ago, of course we haven't succeeded yet. I'm not happy with the results right now. Still, I say this is something deeper, that we've lost the trust of many voters because the Social Democratic Party never really wanted to take a stand on many issues. We also expressed ourselves unclearly at times.
I don't know how it is for you. In my understanding, they expressed themselves far too clearly for far too long to the German citizens out there. That reminds me of, we just need to explain our policies better, why we're doing this. People are fed up. We're supposed to cover the entire bill for Ukraine back there and get nothing in return. And then they come around the corner with, we need to tax the rich more, we need to do this, we need to do that. They've expressed themselves far too clearly, and this constant arguing they have, then we break up the government, then we let the government collapse. And exactly these things from Ms. Bärbel-Baas, she expressed herself very well and very clearly. And at the same time, well, billions are going abroad to refinance the climate, just like now, for example, in Africa. These 1.6 billion euros to, promote hydrogen over there. No, actually to throw it down the Africans' throats, to build nothing, as has now come out again. There was a huge wave of corruption where the funds simply weren't used and nobody noticed for years. Well, the Social Democratic Party is very, very clear about this. The only problem is that people no longer want to support this policy. People here in Germany want the money to stay in the country. That's very clear here. Then I have to say, and Lars Klingbeil can say whatever he wants, then you'll be labeled as a right-wing extremist and pushed into some corner.
The structural problems of the Social Democratic Party are much deeper. And whether things will get better if you just change the people at the top, that's the debate we're having right now. And both of us said from the beginning that we want to have this discussion. And openly too. And we're ready to fight because we have a plan. We want to move this party forward again.
I love these two faces, how they're trying to babble something into the camera. Well, let's be honest, since about 2022, give or take, don't pin me down to 2, 3, 4 months exactly. Yeah, are you so combative that you're willing to drive this country into the ground? In every press conference, they claim that Donald Trump is to blame, that Putin is to blame, that someone else is to blame, whoever. Yeah, while other countries around here in Europe are experiencing steady economic growth, Germany is on the decline. They are so combative that they spend money hand over fist and not for the working population. And they are so combative that they even prevent deportations right here, out of Europe, out of Germany. And they are so combative that they then say, well, we just need to explain our policies better. And now I'll say it in the words of Olaf Scholz. Whoever condemns this war in Ukraine now is a fallen angel. So you're not at all ready to make any compromises. That just means things are going to get really interesting for us in the next weeks and months. And in about 167 days, not about, but exactly, the next elections will take place. And that's when the alternative for Germany will be aiming for an absolute majority. But since we also have the summer break in between, the reforms will probably not happen this summer either. I mean, the ones that people here will actually notice. And if there happens to be an election victory in Hungary, then they will definitely not happen. Because billions will have to be raised again for Ukraine, which they can't explain to us yet. And the energy supply, well, here in Germany, it's also continuing to crumble. They're just really lucky that it's really warm outside.
But above all, we want to make a difference for this country. People are totally unsettled, and it's important to us that we don't throw this country into chaos with our own debate. That's important to us. And regarding the reform package, by the way, we talk every day. We've already proven ourselves with this reform, with the Social State Commission, and you know the dates. Now, at the end of the week, the results will come regarding long-term care insurance.
And should we make a bet that, well, this will put the alternative for Germany back at the top again? When they have to explain to us that it's going to get even more expensive and that the fat, hefty salaries of the health insurance bosses absolutely have to be refinanced, that this continues to really upset people here, and that more and more people before the next elections will think, yeah, okay, I'm fed up with choosing between the plague and cholera. I have the uncertain AFD. Will they really do anything? And more people will rush to the polls. And that's exactly what we've seen. People putting a check mark next to the alternative for Germany. And I personally have to say, if I already know that the other two are ruining this country anyway, then let's just take the chance. Let's vote for the alternative for Germany and see if they can really make this country better. At the very least, we've earned it because there are always chances and hope.